And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang is back from vacation and in Culver City.
John, there are a lot of people running for governor of California, and we can divide them into two camps. There are the people that don't drop curse words, and there are the people that do drop curse words. Which one of these candidates is Eric Swalwell going to be?
Day one, declare a housing emergency in every part of the state and require every agency in the state to make a decision within 90 days on any pending housing projects so that we can get these projects moving. I want to be a get done governor.
So he's going to do it too.
Yep.
Do you realize how difficult it is to be that vulgar and to still sound that boring?
It's a special skill.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. It is our pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. She is the Real Clear Politics national correspondent and author of Fool's Gold, the radicals, con artists, and traitors who killed the California dream and now threaten us all. Available online at Amazon.com. You can follow her on X at Susan Crabtree. Susan Crabtree, welcome.
That's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, we just played the sound of California Attorney General Rob Bonta and his sit down with KCRA's Ashley Zavala, where she was asking him about this $500,000 payout from his campaign fund to a white-collar criminal defense law firm that was supposed to go for money or supposed to go to assist the federal government in helping them in their investigation against the Dong family and Sheng Tao, the former mayor of Oakland, and others in a corruption investigation. Yet when he was asked the specifics as to what his involvement was in all of this, he claimed that he was a mere witness and potential victim, and he was bending over backwards to be a good guy to assist the federal government to make sure that they root out all the corruption in the state of California. None of it made any sense. It clearly didn't make any sense to Ashley Zavala as she was asking the questions. It didn't make any sense to us as we were listening to him give these nonsensical answers that made no sense at all. Yet this guy still thinks that he may jump into the governor's race. To my eye, he'd be lucky to stay out of prison. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, there's this whole issue with whether he was being blackmailed or not. And I don't know why you spend $468,000 to help a federal case to prosecute your donors and friends. And even his wife, who took over his assembly seat, is, part of this Oakland, cabal. And he was one of the people, Rob Bonta himself, that originally got this contract for, it's always trash pickup. Of course, in California, we call it some kind of renewable energy, but it's basically a big fat contract for one of his donors and friends to get this renewable trash government contract. And he was supposedly rejected. This company that ended up getting it was rejected, except for Mr. Bonta himself stepped in and got that contract. And that's why the mayor of Oakland's house was raided. And that's why all these people were indicted. And so, spending that kind of money, $468,000, just to help a federal case, I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. And, Mr. Bonta was interesting because I was doing a profile of him last year. And it was a really large profile, 3,500 words. And he agreed to do a sit-down interview with me. It was in November of last year. And then all of a sudden, he canceled it right after Kamala Harris's terrible performance with Brett Baier on Fox News, or that bad interview. And I thought maybe it was related to that. But who knows? Maybe it was related to this.
We know about this alleged video that the Dongs have on him because it was in the Mario Juarez letter, the letter that was then turned over to the feds. That may have been the first domino to fall that started this whole investigation into the cabal, as you describe it, in Oakland. He described the video that they have on Bonta as something that was, quote, compromising. Do you have any idea, based on your reporting, what might be on this, quote, compromising video?
Well, there were allegations involved in these players in this scenario, that there was prostitution going on. I don't go into conjecture. I don't like to speculate, but it's something compromising. Like I said, you don't spend $468,000. I covered ethics in Congress in Washington, D.C. For many, many years, decades. And what I always thought was, if you're going to spend this kind of money and it's for something that involves an investigation, a federal investigation, you have to open a legal defense fund. And he didn't do that in this case. He's trying to hide it because basically he's been successful. Politicians in California, as my book goes into in great detail, they don't get a lot of scrutiny from the press. And frankly, I think that Ashley Zavala is one of the only reporters, if not the only reporter, doing her job in Sacramento. So you can easily cover this up, but what he was supposed to do is open a legal defense fund. And now you got the California Fair Practices Commission that is going to be ruling, according to Ashley's reporting, in 14 days. So coming up here, because I think that was before the Thanksgiving break, whether he was allowed to use this money for this purpose or not, to pay off a big legal firm. But what's going to happen to him if they find that he should have opened a legal defense fund instead of using this campaign money for this purposes? It would be his office that would have to prosecute himself. So yeah, it's your typical California corruption story. It's not going to happen. Even if it was unlawful, there's going to be no consequence. We asked the California Practice Commission in an open and shut case about the guy running CalPERS, who was a Chinese national with deep CCP connections, and then he had actually invested in the funds that he was investing CalPERS in previously. So there's a big conflict of interest, and he stepped down, and there was a congressional U.S. Congress investigation into him. And it took the California Fair Practices Commission 4 years to come to that conclusion that, yes, he was in violation of the conflict of interest issues. It was an ethical violation, and they slapped him with a $10,000 fine. But he was making more money than any other official in California at the time, highest paid California official, and he'd already stepped down. So why did it take the California Fair Practices Commission, just like a toothless tiger, to come to 4 years and us prodding them for a decision just because we had it open-ended in our book and we needed a resolution? There is no accountability in California, and that's why you have these episodes taking place. As you probably know, my co-author and I, Jed McFadder, who is from the Government Accountability Institute, which is Peter Schweitzer's group, we found dozens of people in and around Gavin Newsom, and now that includes his former chief of staff, that have either been indicted, found guilty, or found guilty of ethics violations in his 20 plus years in elected office in California. But nothing ever happens to him, to the principal involved. But people don't know this. It's sort of like, how business as usual in California.
When a lot of this news started to break, I got a note from a friend of mine who is a big-time magazine writer nationally. And he said, I feel like the feds are clawing their way to Newsom because all of these people around Newsom are now getting in trouble right around the same time. And instead of the net getting smaller, the net's getting wider, and more people are being caught up in these investigations, and people that are not insignificant to Gavin Newsom. Arguably, one of the biggest appointments he made as governor in Rob Bonta, and his former chief of staff, Dana Williamson, among others.
Yes, exactly. these investigations started during the Biden administration, so they're coming to fruition now. Is there a political rationale for this now? Well, Gavin Newsom's being awfully aggressive in the way he's certainly in his social media, in the way he's aggressively going after the Trump administration and casting himself as the leader of the resistance, even though anybody who knows the National Governors Association realizes he was not well liked among his peers, the other Democratic governors across the country. So if we need to know if there's there, and certainly in the case of the chief of staff, it looks like we have people coming forward who are Democrats who are saying that she ran her businesses like the mafia in Sacramento. And she's not the only one. Obviously, you got Bonta here, who he has so many conflicts of interest with his money, but yet he keeps giving money, returning money to donors. $80,000 from attorneys representing SoCal Edison. He accepted before announcing that there was no criminal charges against SoCal Edison for starting a 2018 wildfire. Never mind about the Altadena wildfire that they also started. That's been my biggest bailiwick, and I think I've even said it on the show before. The fires, saying that it's that this claim that it's climate change is so, it's so offensive at so many levels, because we know now that we had an arson with the Palisades fire, and that SoCal Edison was the entity that started. I think it's still technically under investigation, but I think there's a wide agreement that SoCal Edison started that fire, but in Altadena. And the utilities have started hundreds of fires, and the most deadly fire in Paradise, which was the canary in the coal mine. But the Democrats are in bed with them, and they don't hold them to account. And they're taking millions and millions of dollars collectively from the utilities. So they just set up a bailout system for them. That's my biggest complaint, having lived in California. I'm a native. I was born, raised here. Then I went off to D.C. for 23 years and back in 2017. But Bonta takes money from them, and then he decides there's no criminal charges against SoCal Edison. There's $4,000 he accepted from lawyers representing the rideshare companies, challenging a California law that he's now given back, and $16,200 he accepted from the bicycle casino while his office was investigating it. This doesn't happen in other states as much. It's just because we don't have as much accountability in California. There's all kinds of things at Newsom. I look into the behested payments. No reporter besides us is really given that its due diligence. The behested payments that Gavin Newsom has accepted from entities that have business before the state. I think Cal Matters did a really good series on these during COVID, or at the tail end of COVID. But it's crazy that he's accepted all this money, and he asked PG&E for money for his wife's documentary films. It's brazen. And then turns around and gives them a bailout. Then he says he doesn't want to accept money from PG&E anymore because after the Paradise fire, they were found guilty of manslaughter on 84 counts. And so then he says, no, I'm not going to take any more money from them. My wife's not going to take any more money from them, even though he showed her films, screened her films at their headquarters in San Francisco. We're not going to take any more money from them. Oh, wait a second. When the CARE Courts was barely, his signature ballot initiative last year, not this year, but last year, 2024, was hanging in the balance. And remember, people were thinking maybe it wouldn't pass. Guess who came to the rescue? $300,000 from PG&E. This kind of reporting is not taking place on a regular basis in California. We had to cut things from our book because we had so much material. We were just scratching the surface, it felt like. But we have a lot of material in that, especially as it pertains to China and Gavin Newsom's connection to China, that was never reported before, that he was accepting all these companies coming into California from China and thought the reverse would be true. Companies would be, there would be an exchange, a commercial exchange into China. No, that didn't happen. They just came in, dumped their solar products onto California market, and people and companies that were subsidized by our taxpayer dollars, like Solyndra, went under because of it. Meanwhile, he's trademarking his wines into China. So all of this needs to, Gavin Newsom needs to be investigated. I hope the national reporter you talked to is digging in on this. I'm looking forward to the California Post coming into town. Hopefully that's going to shake things up.
Let's go back to Dana Williamson for a second, because she said something that I found to be very interesting that also has not generated a lot of attention. But she claimed that when the feds came knocking on her door, back when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were in charge of the Justice Department, that they told her that they were investigating Gavin Newsom and that she was not the target of the investigation. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, she said, I think her quote was that, she didn't have anything on him, basically. She didn't believe he was doing anything inappropriate. So with that, it's been documented. I do think they are, with this Rob Bonta issue, I don't see, even though Ashley Zavala is a great reporter, she's outstanding, and thank goodness for her. I don't see her just finding that nickel in a haystack, right? I don't see that happening. So how did she find that story? Somebody gave it to her that he spent this $468,000 on lawyers. So I do think there is some closing in on Gavin Newsom and his associates, and rightfully so. I think that the state has been run in a corrupt manner for years and years and years, and there has been exactly no accountability whatsoever, and not even any disclosure about it. We used to do, and when I covered congressional leadership, every quarter you got the financial reports for the leadership PACs, the political action committees, where all the money flows in and out, and every reporter looked at those political action committee reports and reported about what they found, whether it was like somebody was making, this leadership PAC was raking in more money than this leadership PAC, but really the disbursements that told the story, usually of the misspent campaign money. And like I said, I think it's illegal to be using that kind of money, $468,000 for whatever you want to call it. You're furthering the federal investigation, or you're protecting yourself from blackmail, or you're trying to make sure you don't get indicted. All of those are legal defense funds. Those are the purpose of it. You're defending yourself, trying to indemnify yourself or make sure your lawyers are involved. So he should have set up a separate account and solicited money for that very purpose. His donors did not think that he was going to be spending money that they gave him to protect him from a federal investigation.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Susan Crabtree, Real Clear Politics national correspondent, author of Fool's Gold, The Radicals, Con Artists, and Traitors Who Killed the California Dream and Now Threaten Us All. Available online at Amazon.com. If you like this conversation, definitely grab a copy of that book, because there's a lot more information and a story that needs to be told. You can also follow her on X at Susan Crabtree. Susan Crabtree, thanks so much for stopping by.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
800-222-5222 is a telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've crossed the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
3 hours of this isn't enough for you? Come on. You can only squeeze so much out of us, but sure, download all the podcasts. We got 5 years of this crap. Go to KABC.com, go to KASFO.com, search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes.
Let's go to Petri in Rio Vista. Petri, hello.
Hey, John. Thanks for taking my call on a happy Monday, December 1st. Hey, listen, that interview was fantastic, right? Because you got one heck of a smart woman there, Susan Crabtree, sharing all that information that she's reporting on. And there's several other wonderful women that are reporting great information. And she mentioned Ashley Zavala out of Sacramento, and she accurately said that she does great reporting. But I wanted to chime in with, because we love watching Ashley Zavala, but she neglected that, hey, wait a minute, Nikki Lorenzo does some really great reporting also on politics in California. And all three of them are women doing California politics. And your show, I want to add to that, is so awesome because it's all about California. And in fact, I came up with a new theme song for you, which is rehashing a Dead Kennedy song. California, Uber alles. That's right. You remember that song?
Yes, we do. That's the one that made fun of Jerry Brown.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, I just want to chime in and say that because I'm out here in Rio Vista, I've probably missed one of your reports talking about California Forever. And if you bring that up again, there's got to be some dirt that's going to mix Gavin Newsom into that mess too, because Solano County is just going to be torn up. This whole beautiful landscape out there to build this crazy, idiotic utopia, California Forever.
Well, you saw what they're doing now. They took that thing off the ballot because it didn't have the popularity. So now they're going straight through Suisun City, and they've convinced the city council that we're just going to completely expand this small town to be this massive tech bro mecca.
Yeah, it's Suisun City, by the way. But yeah, no, exactly. They're doing anything they can to push this through, and we all know it. Somebody really smart out here in Rio Vista was producing a pamphlet, a little newsletter to get all, city residents of Rio Vista to go to city council meetings. And so I went to one of them, and I told them all there, I go, look, the reason I moved out here was to get away from the insanity of the congestion of the Bay Area where it's just crazy crime and all this idiocy. So I came out this small place, and here it is. I told them, I go, what do you guys want me to move again? Because you guys are going to join in on this California Forever and ruin that beautiful drive. It's just open fields and the wind turbines and cows. And it's so nice. It's so pleasant to just drive out there on my way home. And I just, God forbid, it's like if it takes 10, 15 years, but still it's going to suck.
Well, before you know it, you're going to end up in Amador County.
Well, they do have some nice vineyards over there, and the history of the gold rush. There's some good hideaways up there, but
Zinfandel and Syrah country.
Hey, I'm gonna get your email and send you a photo. I just bought a new T-shirt. Somebody in Rio Vista at the local grocery store made an American flag, and it says Rio Vista, California, right below it. But then where the stripes are, there's the Sacramento Bridge, where the Sacramento River, because that's where the Sacramento River ends, right here at Rio Vista. So anyway, we love it out here, and we love California, and I'm going to sing it one more time. California, Uber alles. California, Uber alles.
Thank you for the call, sir. Go A's.
A lot of energy out there in Rio Vista.
What was the town that Rush Limbaugh used to talk about all the time in Sacramento? That's Rio Linda. Different Rio. Let's go to Dale in Long Beach. Dale, hello.
Hey, speaking of Rush Limbaugh, he was pretty smart. He predicted that Barack Obama would never go away like all the other presidents. He would stick around and dabble in politics.
Like syphilis.
Yeah. I believe Gavin Newsom, we don't agree with Gavin Newsom's politics, but he's pretty smart. I don't think he would knowingly break the law. You would have a hard time proving in the court of law that he knowingly broke the law. And I think this investigation is going more towards Rob Bonta and his wife. Some of those Asians are pretty shady. Just look at Randy Wang.
Oh, God.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I'm married to a Filipino, so I can say that.
And she's not even Asian.
Neither am I.
Yeah, I know. I heard this. I know the backstory on your name. I'm an avid listener.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir.
That's a new one.
What makes it... What really just gives that call the chef's kiss is that neither one of the people that he referenced were Asian.
Let's ask an actual Asian how she feels about this.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
All right, it's time to open up the California crime plotter.
It's happened yet again.
I see. Time for the California crime plotter.
And surprise, surprise, this one takes us to the 7-Eleven.
I think all the 7-Elevens in Oakland have gotten crashed into, so now they're moving on to Alameda.
Uh-oh.
For more, here's a report from Cron 4.
And here in the Bay Area, police are investigating a series of break-ins targeting 7-Eleven stores. Suspects have been smashing their way in and ransacking the shops. So far this month, at least 2 cases have been reported in Oakland, and the most recent happened early this morning in Alameda. Cron 4's Gail Ong reports.
Full cleanup is underway here at this 7-Eleven on Buena Vista Avenue in Alameda, where police say thieves drove an SUV into the store and tried to steal.
Kia Niro? Does a Kia Soul count as an SUV?
Close enough.
Into the store and tried to steal the ATM. The store remained closed.
I do not understand what you get out of being a small business, whether it's a 7-Eleven, a smoke shop, what have you. What do you get nowadays of having an ATM in your shop?
No, what this is going to do is push the rest of us to Bitcoin.
The store remained closed as crews repaired the aftermath. 2 front glass doors smashed, broken glass scattered on the sidewalk. Alameda police say the call came in just before 4:30 in the morning on Thanksgiving.
It's sad.
People who work across the street say their coworkers heard a loud boom around that time. Police say the store was closed, no one was inside, and there are no reported injuries.
It's Thanksgiving, and it doesn't happen here only.
Maybe they were getting some turkey-flavored Slim Jims.
You know what this could be? This could be the government's latest idea to get us all to quit smoking. Because if there's no 7-Elevens left, where's everyone supposed to buy their cigarettes?
It doesn't happen here only, but it does happen around.
This month, at least.
That was her way of saying, wait, I thought this only happens in Oakland.
This month, at least 3 7-Eleven stores have been hit. Just last Thursday, November 20th, Oakland police responded to a 7-Eleven store on MacArthur Boulevard around 4:45 in the morning. Surveillance video shows an employee heading to the back for safety as the suspects forced through the front doors and stole cigarettes.
You know, you have to maintain a lot of things inside a 7-Eleven, and you don't have a whole lot of footprint. You've got to make sure that you've got the soda machine, you've got the cigarettes, you've got the chips, you've got the first aid kit, you've got the ice, you've got the wine, and you've got a panic room for the employees.
That's just going to be part of the cookie cutter drawings that the architects put together for 7-Elevens. It's going to be a requirement.
Heading to the back for safety as the suspects forced through the front doors and stole cigarettes and the cash register. And the week before this incident...
At least the cancer will get them.
Eventually.
And the week before this incident, on November 14th, photos show the damage thieves left behind at a store on Harrison Street in Oakland. In April, Oakland police responded to several 7-Eleven stores robbed and burglarized in similar fashion.
You remember the one that got burglarized twice in the matter of 2 days?
Oh, yes. That one made the crime blotter multiple days.
And there was a guy working there who said, I quit. This is not worth it. I can do something else with my life. and the manager convinced him to stay one more day so that he could find a replacement. And then he got robbed again and beaten.
That's right. And he was beaten pretty severely, wasn't he?
Yes.
The stores rammed with a vehicle and ransacked in the early morning hours. 2 teenagers were arrested and facing felony robbery, commercial burglary, and vandalism charges for a crime spree at multiple businesses.
By the way, elections matter, recalls matter, and if Pamela Price was the DA, those teenagers would not be getting charged with anything.
Quite frankly.
But here's the thing, though. This is where even the moderate Democrats go soft. Moderate Democrats believe that if you are a teenager, you are not a legal adult, that you still have to be treated very differently than you would treat someone who is over the age of 18. But to my eye, this is part of the design, where the criminal enterprises understand this, and that's why they have the minors doing these things.
2 teenagers were arrested and facing felony robbery, commercial burglary, and vandalism charges for a crime spree at multiple businesses, including one of the 7-Eleven stores that was robbed twice in 24 hours. Back in Alameda, so far police recovered a black Acura SUV.
Oh, wow, it was an Acura.
Well, that means they must have already stolen all the Kias.
They cannot just bump their own car into the store and steal something. No, I mean, it's wrong.
It is wrong.
She sounded so motherly when she said it, too.
They cannot just bump their own car into the store and
I got some news for you. It's not their own car.
No, it's not. It's a stolen car.
They cannot just bump their own car into the store and steal something. No, I mean, it's wrong.
And according to Alameda Police, so far no arrests have been made in this case, but anyone with information is asked to contact them. Reporting here in Alameda, Gail Ong, Cron 4 News.
Alameda, by the way, is the city that Karen Bass always references when she gets asked why LAPD's numbers are so low. The city of Alameda offers a $85,000 signing bonus if you graduate from a police academy and want to move up there.
Well, of course, because now they're getting all the overflow crime from Oakland, and they need to make sure they fortify. 800-222-5222 is a telephone number. And Randy, what do you say we take a call?
Let's go to Dave in Whittier. Dave, hello.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, so Rush Limbaugh said that the left, what they do is they camouflage themselves, and once the people find out what they're really about, they rise up against them. He also said the reason why Democrats are winning in California is because there's no pushback. One of the things that we have to push back on is what I told a Walmart cashier about Newsom banning all gas-powered vehicles by 2035. He was shocked. He never heard that. And you guys are in the same district where you're at. Her name is Laura Friedman. She's the appointee by Adam Schiff. She's his replacement, this cutesy-witsy, not-so-innocent lady who wants to ban all fossil fuels. She wants to ban all gas-powered vehicles. So we've got to push back and expose them. When the people find out in California, like what you guys are doing, they'll get them out. But this is huge. This ban.
Well, she also wants to get rid of grass. That was also on her list. She wants to get rid of grass because she said it takes up too much water.
Dennis Villotosa is running against her. Great guy. I hope you have him on your show. He's awesome.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. And Randy, it's time to reopen the blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
I know.
We couldn't make this stuff up if we tried.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
It's the California Crime Blotter.
And surprise, surprise, this one takes us to the city of Oakland.
Oaklanders are not happy with the response times of OPD when it comes to street takeovers. Shocker. Here's Cron 4.
Oakland neighbors are calling on city leaders to do more after yet another illegal sideshow erupted in the middle of the night. Cron 4's Sarah Stinson has the story.
You can still see the tire marks here on 41st and Howe Street. This is where neighbors say yet another sideshow took place, and they say it keeps happening, and they're disappointed with the city's response.
It's the soundtrack of the East Bay.
It's no longer K-Earth, or I guess in the Bay Area it never was.
Burnt rubber, loud engines, and a crowd of spectators is becoming a familiar scene for this Oakland neighborhood.
There was quite a bit of noise. I would say about 1, maybe 1:15. It woke me up.
A sideshow jolted people out of bed early Sunday morning.
And the air was just filled with a horrible smell and smoke.
Extremely loud, and the smoke from burned tires coming up.
Richard Pernsteiner says he quickly started shooting this video from his balcony of people doing donuts.
If I had to estimate, I'd say 60 to 80 people maybe.
Neighbors like Barbara Ludlow.
And no cops.
Could you imagine you go to sleep at a normal time, you have a busy day coming up the next day, and that's what wakes you up at 2 a.m.?
60 to 80 people maybe.
Neighbors like Barbara Ludlum say they called 911 immediately.
And then after it was over, about 2 minutes later, 2 police cars came down the street. One of them went down 41st and the other one went down Howe. So they knew it had ended, but why they didn't come earlier, I don't know.
Pernsteiner says this is the third time his neighborhood has dealt with this kind of chaos.
A couple months ago, one of the people that was videotaping it was actually hit by a car.
Well, that's one way to stop them from videotaping it.
Many say they are still reeling from a fiery sideshow in August that lasted hours and drew more than 500 people. Police responded and towed 6 cars.
They torched a car. Sparks were flying up into the air, and that presents a major fire hazard.
John Caton says the police response continues to fall short.
A number of residents did call the police, and the assurances that they had given about the prior incident, were not followed up on last night.
Don't worry, we got this. Wait, it happened last night too. Don't worry, we got this.
Well, it's not the cops' fault, though. It's Barbara Lee and the city who don't want the cops to make these arrests. Because if the cops show up and the cops are aggressive about it, there are going to be confrontations between the cops and teenagers, and Barbara Lee doesn't want that to happen. She wants them to show up after it's over and write a report.
So I do believe that this needs to be considered and that the police need to be able to take prompt action.
The Oakland Police Officers Association president blames low staffing levels and ongoing struggles to hire more officers.
Okay, yes, there's the common things, more police, etc. But what I'd really like from the mayor and the city council is, number one, let's work together. Let's find some common things, maybe safety of the public, and maybe less bureaucracy, and let's just make the city work.
Well, you're going to need another mayor for that.
Yeah, Barbara Lee is not going to do that. Well, Randy, when you go on vacation, the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Quite frankly.